Greetings, greetings, greetings. Glad to have the family back for another edition of Run Tell That. This is our voice, our time to put it out there, and we are honored. I'm going to tell you, last week we had a great guest, and I told you we're going to have another great guest this week right here. So it's manifested. It is happening. It is here. We got our brother, and hello to Brother Mike Kelly, throwing a shout out. So again, we got our brother tonight. Brother Anthony Maben, Aunt X, Brother Aunt X in the house. Brother Aunt X, as you all know him, along with Brother Reggie Hassan, they have Voices in the Struggle. Powerful show that comes on Sunday night. Check it out. But I got to let everyone know, why do I have this brother on? Why I want this brother to be on? Why I'm excited to have him? Because when it comes down to it, when you talk about the definition of a man who is a protector, lover, a supporter for Black women, African women,
that's right,
for the community. His brother Aunt Maben. I tell folks straight up, I want to acknowledge that publicly, brother, and say that you represent what it means to be a Black man that loves and respects the Black woman, the Black family, and represent the Black community. You are it. Because what I do often, I watch and I observe. And that's what I do. I'm sit back like in the Marvel Comics. I'm the watcher. And I've been watching you, brother. And I got to say this to you, man, respect and man, love for you, because what you do, you are the epitome of what a Black man should be with regards to taking care of the family, taking care of themselves, and taking care of the community. So, brother, I'm honored to have you with us here on Run Tell That. So that's why I'm running and telling everybody that right now. That's the definition. When you look at it, in the encyclopedia or in Webster Dictionary, you see Aunt Maben. So, brother, to have you.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. That means a lot coming from you. I'm also your fan, man. Because too many people get educated and they run away from Black people in education, but not you, brother. You still in them streets. You still informing us. I watch your videos. I got my live settings when you go live. I just appreciate who you are, and I love you, brother.
The same here. Much love, much love, much love. We're going to roll into it because you're doing some dynamic things, and that way, again, it's a range of things. And one thing, I'll throw a question out to you. What's your perspective of the Second Amendment? Because a lot of us get concerned about that. And we have other people talking about the Second Amendment. They act like it belongs to them. So, brother, I'm going to ask you, what's your perspective about the Second Amendment?
Well, you know, the Second Amendment, it's a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state and the right of the people to bear arms. And black people, we wasn't thought of doing the Second Amendment, but we are American citizens and we have a right to bear arms. So I'm a pro Second Amendment kind of guy. I think that most black people should have guns. Yeah, it's about having a gun and maybe not having to use a gun because you have a gun. So I'm pro Second Amendment, and I wish more black people would get behind it because it's not just for white people who call themselves patriots. You know what I mean? It's for black people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'll tell you this, that on Hilton Head, one of the things that I remember distinctly at my grandmama's house, on Hilton Head, my granddaddy house, that at the back door were several rifles at the back door. At the back door were several rifles, not one, not two, several rifles at the back door. And so when we walked into the house, we saw the rifles right there. So that wasn't unusual for us. And so that, again, on Hilton Head, and I tell folks, and sometimes she had like nine head to 12 head of grandchildren in the house. Right. And so we understand that the weapons are right there, but we understand the purpose of the weapons. And I tell people sometimes we're a little different with regard to the mentality today, but absolutely. That's why I go and say it was not unusual for us. So now I'm going to throw out this to you, brother, because you're doing a lot of this work. Should black people arm themselves? Should black people arm themselves? Because they tell us to be nonviolent. So nonviolence means you don't arm yourself at times. Now, some other people have a different perspective about that, and I respect that. But should black people arm themselves?
First, the short answer to your question is yes. But when you say people should be nonviolent, there's a difference between nonviolent and there's a difference between inactive. Because if I say I'm nonviolent, which I am, that doesn't mean I'm going to let you hit me in the face and I do nothing but pray for you. That means I'm not going to be the first one to initiate it. You can't call yourself nonviolent if you are not willing to put that work in when you have to. You're not nonviolent. You're just a compliant black man. So black people should own guns. We went through a period, like you said, when you was coming up, you had guns in the house. My grandfather had guns in the house. Black people went through a period where we took all the guns out of our house. It wasn't cool to own a gun. It wasn't safe to have a gun. Now we're coming right back to that of having a gun and having a gun in the home. And I think that if we train our kids earlier about gun safety, about handling a gun, about the operation of a gun, then we can have more responsible gun owners. But when you think about responsible gun owners, you want to think about, and the media does this, you want to think about a white family with a daddy holding a shotgun and mama yada yada yada, but you put the same black people up there and we now look like criminals with the same guns. So black people should arm themselves, but more importantly than arming themselves, they should get educated on safe gun ownership and safe operation. Because having a gun it doesn't mean that you're going to have to use that gun. That means that I'm not a soft target. Don't come messing with me because I will defend myself. So black people definitely should own guns. Black people should definitely get training on owning guns and conflict resolution.
Okay, yes, sir. And when you talk about the education with regards to owning a gun, owning a weapon, that's something that you're doing, correct?
Yeah, that's something that I do with the National African American Gun Association in Savannah, Georgia chapter. That I started that chapter here, and the reason I started because the National African American Gun Association is big on education for gun owners. So I, along with several members from my club, we offer training classes where you can come fire our members' guns and you can go to the range and actually fire a gun. I think that's, you can't own a gun and don't know how to safely operate it. It's sad to say that in these times, I've had several people come up to me, mainly females, who purchased a gun because of the fear that they had. But one of them said, if I had to use it, I wouldn't know what to do. And once you get that training, it's all about confidence. It's all about knowing if I had to use this gun, that I could use it. Or if I know what to do with the gun without having to use it, then I'll be a better prepared gun owner.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So how can someone become a member? How can they get in touch with you or anyone with regards to the organization, with regards to becoming a member?
You can to join the National African American Gun Association. Yeah, you have to go to naaga.co. You sign up and just pick the Savannah, Georgia chapter, and one of us will be in contact with you. We also have a Facebook page, or you can look my name up right on Facebook, and we can get you. I can get you linked in to get your training and join an organization of Black African American gun owners. That way, you'd be connected to a whole network of Black responsible African American gun owners.
Yes, sir. Now, brother, I'm gonna go on to another area that's still tied to what we need to be doing and ask your question. Well, I need to say this first, that sometimes some people take this perspective that when we talk about protecting our community, protecting our women, protecting our children, that people take the attitude, this Western concept that I don't need any protection. I don't need to protect. I'm independent, And so, like good sister like Ramona Drayton Jackson, strong sister Melinda Gwen Thornton.
That's my sister there.
That's right, strong sisters.
Right.
But these other people take the perspective that, oh, I don't need no protection. I don't need to do this. Or then people even say in our community, we're straight. So, brother, what's your perspective with regard to protecting our communities and protecting our families?
First of all, Malcolm X said it, that the Black woman is the most unprotected and disrespected woman on this planet, and that's due to Black men. Black men, we have a long way to go. First, we got to get ourselves together. We got to get ourselves together. We got to love ourselves. Then we have to love each other. Once we begin to love each other, because if I look at another Black man, I know that they're going through, or it's a possibility, a greater possibility, that they're going through the same hell that I go through. You know what I mean? And we have to take the religion, the social, whatever materialistic things you have, where you live, what kind of car you drive, what fraternity or sorority you belong to. We got to take that out the window and come together on the fact that we're Black men. Now, with Black women, first of all, when a Black woman, this is a goal in my opinion, when a Black woman sees a Black man in her general area that she doesn't even know, that she doesn't even speak to, she should feel protected, knowing if anything happened, that Black man is going to step in for her. That's the point that the Black men have to get to. You know what I mean? And Black women, as strong as they are, in some cases, they have to step back and let that man handle certain situations. Because you see some situations with Black women jumping up in men's faces. That's just the strong nature, the strong being that they are. Black women are the strongest creatures on this planet. Just not physically. They're the strongest creatures on this planet, though. And so many Black women take on white women characteristics. Your independence should not lead to your alienation. You know what I mean? However independent you are, you need a man. A man needs you. You know, it doesn't matter. By listening to society, by listening to TV, by listening to white women and their woes, the man does not feel like he's the head of the household because he don't make as much money as his wife. And that doesn't change the head of the household. There's no point in time where the Black woman has not been beside the Black man. There's no point in time. So these women marches and everything, they're for white women. They've always been ostracized by the white man. At one point, the black man was getting ready to be able to vote before the white woman. You know, white women to stay in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant. That was never a mantra we told our woman. That was never nothing we told our woman. That was a white man telling their woman to do that. The black man and the black woman are the most, and only in my opinion, the only compatible pair on the planet. You got a black man, you got a black woman, you creating black children, you raising black babies, and the cycle repeats itself. It's the reason they put interracial couples on commercials now. It's the reason you don't see too many black people on commercials now. It's the reason masculine black men don't get a lot of attention on TV. I'm sorry, bro. I hope I didn't get all the way off the.
Keep going, brother. I'm saying because that's leading to some other things. I'm like, that's fine. You know, that's what it's about.
Yeah. It's just that your independence shouldn't need the alienation. You know what I mean? Men can do one thing, women can do one thing, another thing. We don't do the same things. We need to mate, or we need to come together to form a union to complete both of us.
It's holistic, and so on. That's again something that you're sharing. That sometimes we get caught up, and that's why I emphasize to folks: we get caught into Western values, Western ideals, and ideas. And when that goes contrary to who we are and the struggle and the fight that we're engaging in, and it kind of warps our sense of how we fight and how we deal with life, we deal with these issues in life, and then we get surprised when now we have these incidents that happen and stunned. Because again, when the equity and the equality that we thought we should naturally have because we did certain things, and like you have not been hit in your face with this reality. But you have been trying to tell them about that. And we're going to explore more about that, but I want to throw this out there because you said something that with regards to about weapons and guns, and and I'm going to say that there are other issues that are related with regards to when we have the ownership of weapons in our community, and black folks have weapons, and like these other issues, like with regards to like the Panthers, when the Panthers now decide to now follow the law in California that gave them the right to brandish weapons. That's when we begin to see a perspective come out that these black males and black females that had weapons, that they were criminals, that they were thuggish, that they were the ones that were the criminality element that was a threat to everyone. That's why Caucasians had to have weapons. So when you talk about this with regards to the exploration of black folks, and especially I'm saying African people not getting licensed with regards to their weapons, having the license to carry that weapon. What are your thoughts with regards to that? Making sure, because again, we want to follow the law and we want to implement the law, make sure the law is going to be treating us fairly, not unequally. Like I said, that's one of those other matters related to, gun ownership and us using weapons. Because again, when we have our gun clubs, people get afraid when they see about 100 black men and women walking with weapons, with rifles, with handguns. They get frightened.
Exactly. And a good example of that is Grandmaster Jay with the NFAC, the not effing around crew coalition.
Yes.
They brought him up on some bogus charges, saying he waved a weapon at some officers. First of all, what black man do you know can wave a weapon at officers and not get killed on sight? So they saw this black man coming. He was too powerful. They didn't know how he can get over 200 to 300 black people together armed and show up in your city. So now they got that brother on some bogus charges. But the Black Panther Party, they started, let me say, black gun ownership has always been sought after for the protection of black people. For the protection of black people. White people cannot say that, but that's what make black people want to first arm themselves. When the Black Panther Party started in 1966, they started with the mission to protect black people being openly armed against police patrols, which later they called it cop watching. They started that to monitor the behavior of the police in the community. I think we need that today. We still got that problem. So, but it wasn't until 1967 when 30 armed Black Panthers showed up on the California State House that they enacted the Mumford Act. The Mumford Act was used to disarm the Black Panther Party. No other way around it. Disarm the Black Panther Party. See, because this world is not used to Black men standing up, let alone Black men standing up, arming themselves. Arming themselves. Black people have always owned guns. This cycle that we're going through right now and the uptick in guns, it appears new, but it's nothing new. Black people have always had guns. We had the deacons of self-defense in Bogalusa, Louisiana.
Yeah.
They were formed to protect their neighborhood. They were formed to protect people going to the polls to vote, protect activists going house to house, protecting people from voting. But what did that do when they formed that? When people came to Bogalusa, Louisiana, they knew they had to deal with them armed Black men. So that cut down on that balance right there. And America don't want to see that. And America doesn't want to see that. Our biggest thing, I think, with guns is we have to get, I say it again, we have to get trained, we have to get educated on being a responsible gun owner. Because if you go to court by a Black man with your gun, you got to look at your jury of peers who's going to have your sentence or your guilty, your innocent verdict in your hand. So we have to train, and if nothing else, you get from me today, Black gun owners need to train and educate themselves. And I'm not saying that as a plug for me, because I don't have the time to do all the training I want. But get trained with somebody, with some organization, with some credited organization or an instructor. So you know what to do. You know how to handle your gun. Having a gun is all about confidence. If I have to pull this gun, I'm confident that I can put a bullet on target instead of shaking. That's how our babies get shot. Or you got these wannabe gangsters holding the gun sideways. You can't hit. I tried it. I said, it looks cool. I tried it. You can't hit nothing sideways. So, yeah.
And again, and that's a part of the insanity. That again, and folks don't talk about that. Say when folks hold on the guns like that sideways.
Yep.
And that's part of that stupidity. That's stupidity. You know, and I say this to people also. I say, share what we got going on tonight, because Brother Ant is throwing some things out there that we need to hear, we need to know about. And again, even though it's not a shameless plug for you, but I'm just being real with you about it, that yes, if you can get a hold of him, join his organization, do that. Because also I throw out there, if you can't get a hold of him, is Brother Kepler L down in Jacksonville side, down in Florida. So again, so we got Black folks who are doing this right here. And as you said, Brother Ant, this is not unusual for us. That yes, the deacons of defense, guess what? When they not stepped up to the plate and they were arming themselves and protecting themselves, guess what? When we talk about civil rights, that's what brought about some of it right there. That's what caused folks now to understand we can't go and handle it. I'm gonna give a family story also. I'm gonna throw a family story out there. My family, the Knight family, a lot of them up there in Jersey side, a lot of them up in North Carolina side, North Carolina Central folks. And but they're out of Millen, Georgia. And they talk about there in Jenkins County, they talk about when the sheriff department deputies would come out there, that the deputies had to announce themselves when they were coming on the property. These would be like, Mr. Knight, because what happened? Grandpapa Knight will come out onto his porch.
That's right.
Shotgun with his rifle. He's gonna fire on any Caucasian, because he was like, I don't have them come on my property. If they come in here, then there's some intent that's not gonna be good for me and my family. So he's coming out, he's gonna fire. So the deputy respected him. That's why I tell folks, I say these stories when they talk about Black people being afraid and all this other stuff like that, I'd be like, yo, I got family members going to tell you straight up that ain't happen with them, because they had to make sure Grandpapa Knight, they had the sheriff department in Jenkins County had to announce themselves. But what's so funny today, They don't do that type of stuff today. That's why they ain't going to shoot us down with no problem. But back then, they knew Mr. Knight was not going to play no games. He wasn't going to play the radio with them.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Now go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that. I was going to let you say what you want to say on that point.
It's crazy. Black people, we're not picking up guns out of fear. They always want us to be. We're not in fear. We realize the necessity. Because if I was in fear, if somebody wasn't operating in fear, they wouldn't do anything. But when somebody wants to go purchase a gun, they made the decision that, hey, I need to protect myself and my family. And if you ever thought about getting a gun, it's all about the mindset. It's not the fact that I don't want to kill anybody. It's the fact that I want to live. I choose my life over yours, if it comes down to that. Now, I'm gonna say this, and this is unpopular, but the police are the foot soldiers of white supremacy. They are, I believe, they are mandated. They are working under order that at that interaction, whether it's on the side of the road, whether they approach you or anything like that, they can take your liberty. So they can first put you in the penal system. They can make you a slave again, which that is what you are, or they can kill you on sight and get away with it. There's a deliberate agenda to exterminate black people. There's a deliberate agenda. For if it was not, white people would be getting murdered, slammed to the ground at the same rate as black men and black children are. But the fact of it is they're not. So I believe the police are operating under a mandated order to exterminate black people. You may say that's far-fetched. You may say that's far-fetched. But I do believe that they are the foot soldiers of white supremacy, because they are the ones that can legally pull a gun on you. They are the ones that can legally detain you for no reason. They are the ones that can legally kill you on the side of the road. We can watch it now. We can watch it now with camera phones and everything else. I was hopeful when we started recording cops and we got cell phones with cameras and everything, but they're showing us now that it doesn't. Whether you watch it or not, he's gonna get off because he's working under order.
Okay, powerful statement. And I'll throw this out there that I tell people this, that especially those going into law enforcement, I say to them, I said that you have to understand you must make the best decision, because the decision that you make at that stop, at that point that you're not doing an investigation, you now will impact somebody's life for generations. So with that type of power, you got to make the best decisions. And with some of them, they don't get that, even though I'm ringing the ears of some of my people. But others, if they ain't got Jamal around and tell them stuff like that, then they're not functioning. They're not thinking like that. So they become a danger to folks. And again, as I said, they impact people's lives. That something that they might think is minuscule to them actually becomes a tornado in the life of other people. And that it now hits people for generations, that now that person is detained, that person lose their employment, that person now, the family is torn asunder. And then guess what? The kids that are out there, they're not thriving like they need to be thriving. And so then it impacts generations. So I say, make the best decision. Understand that, because some of them will go and do stuff that with regards, again, their own biases, because we all have biases. And I let people understand this. Biases and being prejudiced, those are real experiences, but it's how you deal with it. I say some biases are okay, but other biases that are punitive, that's the problem. Punitive biases and prejudice. Now, somebody might be prejudicial because somebody is from, might be a fan of Green Bay. They might be nice about this. Somebody is a fan of Tampa Bay, so of course, those biases, but they're not punitive. And so in this situation, that if you're not biased and you're doing a traffic stop and you're not engaging racist activities at that traffic stop, biased activities at the traffic stop, and which I tell you, I've had a law enforcement just recently officer say to me that they need to be better training psychologically for their fellow officers. So it's real. So that's why I know some people are going to say you're extreme about it. I'm like saying, let's not look at you want to talk about the extreme stuff. I'm like, let's look at what's real and what's the reality right now. Mm-hmm. And then saying that, well, Brother Ant can have that perspective because he's looking at some facts. Mm-hmm. We need to rectify this right here. And here goes Jamal Touré saying something that he tell people, you got to make the best decisions. And now, again, throw something out there to you. There's a group of law enforcement officers who've said that about 15, 70, 15. And I've used this. What is that about? They say that 15% of officers are good. They're going to do their job. They protect the serve. That's what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. Then you got another 15 that ain't that good. Mm-hmm. That are problematic. Mm-hmm. And they say the 70, those are the ones that are right there in the middle. And depending on who they're around at that point in that time, they may go along with doing the right thing or may not, or they might skirt the not so right thing. And I tell people, I say, my job is to help people increase the number from 15 to higher with regard to ones who seeking to protect and serve, and decrease the number of the 70 so they come over and get rid of that other 15%. Because yeah, that's a perspective, and that's not something that is not paranoia. That's real, and that's coming from a group of law enforcement officers who discuss this. Now, Brother Ant, I'm going to share this with you. Like I said, my thing is that I watch you and seeing what you've done in the community and with regards to trends that happen. Something that you did. Oh, excuse me. I got to rewind. I got to say this right here. Some of you join us right now. I had said this about Brother Anthony maybe that he is the epitome of, he is the definition of, he is the living encyclopedia example of a man who protects, who loves and supports women. This brother right here, I have mad respect for him, and that's what he does. And I got mad love because he did something last year. He observed something, saw something, and he said, we got to implement it right here. Because what happened, he got black men and black women, I should say like that, he was the catalyst. You know, I want to say that probably his wife played a role with it too, but then he was the catalyst for getting a group of black men and black women together to go down there on River Street and take a photograph of what they should be doing for one another. And say, have that one word where I said, you know, somebody said adore, somebody said respect, somebody said protect. And you led that. I'll go again. I got to give you the credit. You led that. And I was like, wow, this is what it's about. That brother's letting it be known that. So he had not just black men shouting out what they need to do for black women, but also black women doing the same thing for black men. And I shared this with folks. I said that any black man, and I should say, let me just throw out there, any father who has a daughter should understand that that daughter that he has in his life, that he has helped bring into this world, that daughter is a sign for him as to how he needs to treat women. And so when you are a black father, that is a sign for you as how you're supposed to treat black women. Their daughter is the representation of that, is the symbolism of that, the symbol of that, symbolic of that. Absolutely. So what I'm going to throw out to you, say, brother, why is it important with regards to all this that work that you did with regards to having us recognize one another, the work that you do with regards to making sure that black women are loved and that they're elevated?
For one, I think you give me far too much credit. For two, the black dinner table is revolutionary. The conversations that you have with your children at the black dinner table means a lot more than a lot of people think. For one, the composition of the family unit with a black man and a black woman and black children is that young man gets to see how his father treats his mother, and that is the standard in which he treats women. And that daughter gets to see how this man is treating my mother. So this is how a man should treat me. Now that son gets to see how the father treats the mother and how the mother treats the father. That gives him what to look for in a woman. And that's what you want. There's something sick about a man that looks at his children,
mm, mm,
especially looks at his little black girls and
mm,
goes out and still
mm,
degrades black women. When you're at home raising a black woman, there's something sick about that. There's something sick about the black woman who disrespects other men or keeps bringing the men around when she got a black child, a male at home watching her.
mm.
Because I'm gonna tell you, I was a mother's boy. I quickly
Okay.
realized that people don't love me the way my mother loved me. You know what I mean? So you got to instill them values in them early. You have to, and you have to let them watch you and what you do. What am I a perfect parent? No, I think I did a lot of things right, but I
Mm,
wasn't a perfect parent. You know, um, but the union, the black family union, is the
mm,
most important thing to our liberation and our salvation.
mm, mm, mm.
Until we can have the same conversation about black kids interacting with police, then we can have then and white parents can have the same conversation about white kids interacting with police. This has to be done at home. This
Mm,
has to be done at
mm,
home. You
mm,
know,
mm, mm,
a single mother can't teach a man how to be a man. They
mm.
can show that young man how to treat a woman, but they
Yeah.
can't teach him how to be a man. And I thank God for my wife. We've been together for 24 years. I thank God for her because some of that stuff my daughters brought to me, go talk to your mother about that. You know what I mean? so, so there's nothing more important than the black union
Yeah.
because if let's say I've been married to my wife, I know how to treat my wife. I know how to respect my wife. I know how to love my wife. If I don't know how to do this at home, how can I expect to do that to another woman out in the street?
Mm-hmm.
How
Yeah.
can I expect to treat somebody else with respect or step in on behalf of a black woman when I don't know how to treat my own woman? I turn her head. That's what she get. You know what I mean? So it starts at home. If we raise broken children, they become broken parents raising broken children again. We
Yes.
have to break that cycle.
Yes. And I have to say this because we've got some strong sisters who've been checking out the show, like Sister Ramona Drayton Jackson, Sister Melinda Gwen Thornton. Because again, and with them, the conversations they have um, had these strong father figures. They had these people in their life that were impactful. So that's why I'm gonna say, hey, that's what it's about. That is the real
Mhm,
deal. And
mhm.
my brother, I had some other things I had wanted to deal with, wanted to throw out. Um, but life happens, and so we gotta be flexible. I'm trying
Absolutely.
to figure out. If somebody can tell me, if you can tell me, why was the cat director terminated on yesterday? Please, if you know, and we just throwing it out there for the community because it's kind of rhetorical. Just
Yeah. I don't know, man. I wish I would have known. I wish I knew why so I could share it with you. But I don't know why. But they lost a good one. I can tell you that. What the hell do they want running cat? You know what I mean? This brings up a lot of questions.
yeah. And just like now, one of the things throw it out there to you. Um, why would you have your people out there on Augusta Avenue feeding people hot dogs to get them to sign a petition for the Salvation Army to be over in the old Bartow complex? Brother, I'm trying to say, why would you people do stuff like that? Give people hot dogs, and as Alderman Alicia Miller Blakely said on her show, by us sports, she said, and they had bottles of water that wasn't even cold. Why would your people do that? I'm trying to figure. Give me the understanding, brother. Give me understanding.
This is my opinion. This is my opinion. It had nothing to do with your show, but that's what white people do. That's what if the white person can't come up and do it personally, they'll plug a Negro to go out there and do it to us for our own detriment. You know, and we're such a trusting, we're such a loving people, we're such a turn the other cheek, I pray for you people, that we fail to perform the right inquiries. We fail to ask the right questions. We want to trust this person so bad. You know, if you put a white man in a suit in front of black people, hardly any questions to be asked, and most of what he said to be taken for face value. But if you put a same black man in a suit, they'll question his credentials. How did he know? Where did he come from? You know what I mean? That we have to get out of this mentality. This is what we get for eating hot dogs and drinking hot water. You know?
And it's stunning. It is absolutely stunning that in 2021 you have a business folks standing outside, black folks getting other black folks to sign a petition to agree to this when the folks really don't know. They don't know the depths of it all.
They've been uninformed.
You're just using the people, and I'm like stunned at this, and you give them hot dogs, which I'm going to probably hurt some people's feelings. And Mobile, Alabama, a person who ran for the mayorship there in Mobile recently, within the past 10 years, he did a cookout, he did fish fry, and I want to say fish fry and like chicken for him to get elected to become mayor. So here you go. This type of stuff is happening. This stuff is happening in Savannah, Georgia. So when I saw the hot dogs and the water, I'm like, oh my God. I was talking about Mobile. Now I see they're doing the same thing in Savannah. And I go and look and I say to myself, the politicians who go along with that, I'm making a statement to you all in general, and Brother Ant, you can give your perspective with regard to this. I think that the politicians who go along with some of this right here, that I think that they're committing political suicide, or they're engaging in, or they dancing around political suicide, doing things like this, going against the community and not informing the community. And what's your perspective? Because I think they're committing political suicide.
First of all, I think that black people have been out of politics for far too long. When you talk about politics in the black community, most of us are uninterested. We're turning that corner now, but most of us are uninterested. So this leaves the room for black people to get in there who are going to compromise, who are going to get happy with just sitting at the table with what perceived important people. You're not getting this same happy black person is not getting anything out of the deal by sitting at the table. He's not doing anything for his people, but he's head nodding for them. So first of all, we have to recognize the Negroes that we vote for. Secondly, we have to back them. If there are two people running for one position, if there are two black people running for one position, then they should come together. Us as the black community should pick one before we send two up there and split the vote for a white man to get in. So we need unapologetic representation up there. We need more people like Alicia Miller Blakely. We need more people like Keisha Gibson Carter. Alderman Mayor Pro Tem Alderman Shabazz. We need more people who, when they get to office, they don't change and they're still advocating for the people. That's what we need, because we have to take all these pretenses about what a black political leader should look like. They should look like this. They should have this education. They should talk like this. No, we need to put somebody up there who's going to advocate for the people, and we need to back them. We have a microwave memory when it comes to politics. Somebody will do something when they first get into office. The last few 6 months to a year before they get out, they start coming back to the black community, start speaking at black churches, taking pictures with black babies, and we forgot about everything they did when they first started, when they didn't need us. So we got to stop having microwave selective memory. We got to start putting some people in there from our own community.
I will say you are absolutely correct. with regards to this, I tell folks you can have as many black officials on a city council, on a county commission, on a town council, or in a state legislature. You can have all of them, but if they feel beholden to other people, they are not going to be doing the work for their constituents. They will do the work for a lobbyist or for someone else that comes to them who they think has power.
Yep.
So they feel beholden to other people. And so that's why they function like that. I tell folks that's what that has happened here in Savannah, that for decades we have folks still feeling beholden, even though we had the power. But I tell folks, guess what? Psychologically, if you don't see it like that,
yep,
you're still trapped. You still do the bidding of other people. And what I've shared this is not anything that I've been quiet about. I've shared that I've been around some politicians where they've talked about how they've been happy pretty much to be be able to sip wine with some of these folks in these leadership positions with CETA and the Chamber of Commerce, that they're thinking that's okay. And I'm saying to myself, that's some sick shit right there. That's like sick. That's not real. That's not right. That you should be there for the people, and instead your people are suffering, your community is suffering, but then you see improvements in other areas, and that is not how it's supposed to operate. And so now I go and say that I've gone in there and say political suicide, but I know, and you brought up, Brother Ant, that the microwave mentality that some of us have, the memory that some of us have, that's what hurts us. That microwave memory. Because don't forget, they do us wrong, then all of a sudden, just like as Sister Jackson said, bought and sold, do us wrong, and we still gonna vote for them. Not even in the stew, because again, they know that we're almost childish in our behaviors with regards to our political education, our voter education, almost political. Childish with regards to that. So what occurs is that they don't have political suicide if we forget. So that's why I'm throwing out there this clarion call for folks. We cannot forget. Do not forget. Remember, write it down in a diary. Put it down so when they come to you, you cannot address them about this. But what happened, they are banking on the fact that you are going to forget.
Absolutely.
Which is dangerous for us. And it cannot continue like that. And that's why I say it is problematic. And it goes to something that we've had folks on the Board of Education. I know some people can get mad about this, but I don't care. It goes with regards to, we have folks on the Board of Education, and this is not just now, but for decades, who allow certain things not to happen for schools that were serving the children. I'm going to say the urban children, the innocent children, that we allowed, that they sat right there, and then we try to honor these people. I'm like saying stop. When just like somebody threw it out there, they said that how can Allen's High School, how can they have a stadium? Why would they have a stadium before Savannah High when Savannah High was supposed to have a stadium? But guess what? Nobody says anything about that. We forget about that. We look at what's happening with regards to communities and with regards to some of these structures that should have been done. And now this goes back in time. Now somebody may get mad with me about this, but then there was, again, I'm going to throw it out there. Chester Ellis and I had a conversation probably about maybe even a decade ago, that with regards to issues that went on at the Board of Education that was impacting Beach High School, that Beach couldn't get certain things done. Beach should have some things done, but did not happen because the folks say, oh, y'all have that infighting going on, so we can bypass y'all. When people are in place before others. So I'm looking at educational leaders who sit silent. We need to have them removed from office. And that because with what happened with some of us, because they're our friends, our relatives, our church members, our neighbors, we go along with it. When again, your children are suffering. I'm like, it's time out for that. It's time out, because when they do nothing, guess what? We get nothing, and we are impacted by the nothingness that goes on.
Yep. You know, Taisha Whiteley was the best person to run the school board. She was the most qualified. She has kids in the school. I'll never understand how damn, I don't know him personally. This is not a personal attack on him, but I don't understand how old, decrepit Joe Buck got in there overseeing the education of our children. I can guarantee he does not have one child, one relative in the school system. I was so disappointed at that point. You know, we have to get educated. We have to get educated politically. We have to get educated. We have to gain education through higher knowledge. Um, we have to stop cowering when we go to the schools as parents. You know, you have to stop believing what somebody in a suit and tie tell you about your own damn child. You know what I mean? You have to come to the school without your child being in trouble. They need to know that you can come up there. They need to know that you can come up there if something happens. You know, instead of just coming up there when there's some trouble. And I can tell you, like Melinda Gwen Thornton, our people did not vote for her, and that is the issue. That's right. That is the issue. It takes black people too god doggone much to vote. We have to do this. We have to come to your neighborhood. We have to do this. We have to do that. But see, that's a part of the misinformation and the miseducation that we have. We don't even understand the importance of vote. All voting is local. All change is local.
Yes.
And you are a failure if you're not voting for everything local. I've been married to my wife 24 years. I don't agree with everything she says, but I'm rolling with her. You know what I mean? You get that one thing that person says that you don't like, and you vote for somebody else who has none of your qualities, who looks out for your children or your community at all.
Yes.
That's what we get.
Yes.
Divide and conquer. That's right, Ramona.
Yes. Absolutely. Now I'm gonna throw this out there because it's something that you do also. Why is mentoring important to you? Why is mentoring important to you?
Mentoring is important to me because, first of all, I want to be the type of mentor that I wish I had when I was coming up. My father wasn't in my life a great deal of my life. Matter of fact, because of my wife, I started talking to him when I got grown. But and another reason is black children need to make an better informed decision earlier in life. A black child shouldn't have to go through this, shouldn't have to go through that to realize that, hey, I made the wrong decision. You know what I mean? There are a lot of black homes that don't have a father figure in it. There are a lot of white homes. You know, I'm just not saying there are a lot of black homes, but the reality is there are a lot of homes, black homes, that don't have a father in it. So black men need an outlet. Black young men need to see other black young men doing stuff. You know what I mean? It's all about the mindset. The 100 Black Men of Savannah. I'm a part of that organization. I'm the vice president of the 100 Black Men of Savannah. And the reason I partnered with the 100 Black Men of Savannah because I can mentor kids on my own, of course. But why not be tied to a national organization and be tied with more black men where we can reach more kids? You know, so we put these young black men and these young women, we put them in nice suits and the women wearing dresses, and we teach them classes, and they feel better about themselves. They feel better about themselves, and that's what it's about. It's how you feel. It's how you project yourself on how you feel. Because whether you live in the projects, whether you on welfare, whatever the case may be, you can still feel good and project your best self. Walmart has nice suits. Burlington has nice suits. Target has nice suits. You don't have to get a $500 suit. Whatever you have, however you dress, you look nice in what you got on. Because you're presenting yourself. You're marketing yourself as your brand. So that's what I want to, along with the help of the 100 Black Men of Savannah, that's what I want to help young men and women do. We just don't mentor black boys and black girls. We mentor all kids, but our primary target is black children. And we want to ensure that they are making a better decision early in life. They're getting a career path early in life, and they can stay focused on that. And a good resource that we use is our Collegiate 100. This is young men and women that are enrolled in college, either Georgia Southern, Savannah campus, or Statesboro, or Savannah State, and they come out and mentor the young kids as well. They play a critical role because the young men get to see the young men and women get to see their next step in them. So that's why I mentioned, man. I think everybody has a responsibility to give back. Everybody. If you're not in jail, if you're not a pedophile, then you have a responsibility to give back.
Yeah.
You know, the brother that's coming home with his work boots and his roll guard vest and working hard on the side of the road every day doesn't have a college education, but he's taking care of his family. He's doing what he needs to do. He can be a mentor as well. You know, you don't have to have a whole bunch of education to be a mentor. You just have to want to see somebody do better than what you did. You just want to be an available resource for somebody in case they hit a bump in the road. So that's why I mentioned, man.
Powerful, brother. That's right. That's one to get that. I want for us to close out. I want to close out on that note right there because I tell folks what we're about. We're about solutions. We see the issues, but then also we're about solutions. And you presented solutions that I didn't even have to say anything. You presented the solutions right there. How we need to function as a society, as a community, as a neighborhood.
Can I say one thing?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Melinda Gwen Thompson Thornton said there are some young men that needed the mentoring of the 100 black men who were overlooked because they did not fit the photo op. They need to mentor all. You know, when I first joined the 100 Black Men of Savannah, there was a stigma about us being a elitist organization. But I can tell you that myself and other members in the organization are on the ground working to change that mindset. You know, we have failed in some ways. We've done a lot of good, but we failed in some ways. And we are trying to reach every child, especially in our underdeveloped, impoverished, indigent communities. That is our goal. So I appreciate your comment, Ms. Thornton.
And we appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you being on with us. This would not be the last time. We're going to have you again. We enjoy your show. And we're going to have you back because, again, as I said, you put it out there, solution. And then our sister Ramona Drayton Jackson said something that when I was going to go in the other line and say this right here, that you desire for your brother and your sister, that which you desire for yourself.
Amen.
That's what it's about for us. And again, glad to have you with us tonight on Run Tell That. We want folks to run tell that. Go let people understand. And we gotta say, our special sponsor tonight was Very Gifted, because this dynamic t-shirt I got on to let y'all know, say our story begins, you know, with crowns. That's our story about. And so Very Gifted. And so again, Day Clean Journeys, Day Clean African Soul, down about all things relevant media. And so we know they're about to transition to their show. But Brother Aunt Maven, you are the epitome and the definition of a man who looks out for his family, his community, and all. We appreciate you, brother, and love you.
And thank you too, brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Peace and blessings to the family. Share, share, share. Glad to have y'all with, again, the Run Tell That family. Peace. We're out of here.
Peace.